Hey everyone, isn't it nice to be out in the sun? Well, I'm not. This is the new Godox No-LED F400Bi. And it's flipping bright. This is 100% power outdoors, and you can see it's easily filling me nicely as if from the sun. I think usually I'd put a little bit more fill this direction to help that illusion, but otherwise, you know, that's pretty bright. Considering this is a matte, you know, it's a matte light. It's not a single source like you know, one of the Aperture 300Ds or 600Ds or any of those that these days are replacing HMIs for outdoor lighting and where you need super high brightness lighting, single point sources. This is really more for interviews lit from overhead and lit from the side. Suddenly don't need a massive softbox because this comes with one integrated. Also, because it is this big, you know, the softbox is not necessary because it's not spreading a single source of light over a wide area. It's already a wide area, so it means everything gets smaller. So once you put the mat up, which is, you know, no more complicated than your average softbox anyway, that's it. You don't then have to put a light up separately or several lights as I do with interviews sometimes. You have a great big trace frame and I like to put one, maybe two sources through it to, you know, really kick up that level of light and wrap the light around the interviewee. Whereas with this, you can actually turn it sideways and let's see how that works out here. So now the mat is 90 degrees, it's wider across me, so hopefully that's filling in a little bit more round my face. If I go this way, you can see how it's doing that. So it's not so long, it's now, you know, widescreen, which is great. So imagine if you're in a studio and you need somebody looking down the lens and you want light from the front, but you don't want massive bright sources going straight into their eyes and being distracting. This thing with its softbox on can be actually quite high above, giving a lovely gentle soft light down on them without any of those blinding single point sources right in their faces, which I think actually is going to be really, you know, really useful for that sort of thing. The battery pack here I think is really useful. So that at the moment is running off mains, but it can run off 2 V-Lock batteries. They've got to be high draw V-Lock batteries, of course, because it's taking a huge amount of power. It will do 50% maximum when it's running off batteries, which again, for any indoor stuff is going to be enough. You know, this is really a lot brighter than I expected in the first place, so the fact that it will run off batteries at all is great. It also has a number of presets, so if you have several different lighting states, so let's say you're using this across a couple of different rooms over the course of a day or week of interviews, and you've preset the color temperature and the brightness to match other lights within that room, you can set that as a preset, and then when you move it to the next room, you can go to the next preset, which is set for that room. So that's quite nice having presets on the light. I haven't really come across that before. Of course, it's all controlled from the app, which actually I haven't yet been able to get to work because I can't get it to discover the Bluetooth. So apart from being able to dial in your color temperature from 2700 to 8700, I think, something like that, which is a pretty good range for a bicolour LED anyway, it's also got your standard set of silly effects that you might use or you might not when you're out with this light. So, you know, lightning and flickering TV or candlelight, fire, you know, stuff like that just might make this useful in certain situations. I love the quality of the light that comes from it because it's all from this one big mat. I'm actually squinting looking towards it in the way that you would do a single point source, because each one of these little LEDs, and there's hundreds in there, is that bright. It comes with a softbox frame in which it has a nice diffuser, and it also comes with the egg crate that just helps to keep that spill down if you need it. So yeah, it's called the Godox No-LED F400Bi. There's also a 200 and a 600, and the 600 is twice as big, square, and the 200 is half the width. but still pretty bright. The big one I think would be a bit too unwieldy, whereas I love the form factor of this. It's proving quite useful, that shape. It's not too big, it's not too small, you know, it's a lot bigger than a 1x1 panel, but it's not so big that you can't carry it around, or I mean, it's very light, this thing. I've got it on a Sentry stand, but it's actually very light, even in its bag. The fact it squishes down into a flat mat means that the box itself it comes in is a lot easier shape to pack away somewhere, rather than being a squarer box. What we have done already with this has been excellent. I think I'm going to be using this instead of my trace frame for the majority of interview setups, certainly. The fact that it's light enough to hang over off one stand, looking down on, say, two people in conversation, or for situations where there's multiple people around a table, perhaps, stuff like that is almost worth it on its own, because you can dial in the temperature so it matches your ambient room lights, you know, your much yellower colour of room lights, and then suddenly you've got this beautiful soft source that just drifts off around the subject. So yeah, I've been really impressed with it, and this is one of the ways that I think modern lighting is really helping us as cinematographers, director of photography, is really helping us to tell stories better, work quicker, and the way that it softens such a big wide area. Again, it can be quite close to the subject without the subject feeling uncomfortable. I bought this, I've not been sponsored or anything, I just bought this because I thought it looked supreme. I've used the Aperture F22s, something like that, they're matte lights, and I thought the idea was excellent, but it didn't really take enough advantage of it. I don't think they got big enough. You know, you might as well have had a 1x1 standard LED panel light instead, whereas this is so big, I think it really makes use of the matte technology to do this with, in a way that other companies I haven't really seen any other examples from yet. So the Godox F400Bi, really like it. Check them out. Thanks very much for watching.